Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and today I thought it would be fun to show you my process for getting everything ready for a new stitchy project. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned. So as you probably have already heard, we are kicking off a Liberty Stitch Along project, and I thought it'd be really fun to show you what I do to prepare for a new stitchy project. So this is gonna just be a nice sit down video with me. I'm gonna show you my process, how I pull my floss, how I get everything organized and get ready for stitching. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So we are going to be prepping for our Liberty Stitch Along, which starts June 12th, and I thought it would be really fun to show you guys how I prep for not just a stitch along, but anytime I'm going to be doing a cross stitch project. So first, obviously, I get my pattern, and the next thing I do is I get my fabric. Now this one, because we're doing a stitch along, I've actually already started, but I do grab my fabric and prep my fabric. And prepping your fabric is totally personal. I have not done anything to this, mainly because I was in a hurry. So what I'll usually do is cut my piece, and I already know the finished size of this. It's on my pattern, and so I just cut it a couple inches larger, and as you can see, I wasn't even all that careful about cutting it straight. But I will go ahead and just cut my piece so that I have a piece to work with that isn't quite so overwhelming. This is definitely cut from a larger piece of fabric. And then the next thing I'll do is usually take my sewing machine and I'll run a zigzag stitch around these edges. I have not done that on this one yet. Like I said, I was kind of in a hurry, but that's an option to help keep all of these little pieces from fraying. Or the other thing you can do is put some masking tape around the edges, and sometimes that's faster than getting out your sewing machine. So you can just fold masking tape all the way around all four edges, and that'll make it so that it doesn't fray either. The masking tape is not my favorite method because it makes it a little bit less flexible, and I like to roll up and scrunch while I'm stitching, and so I will usually just do the zigzag stitch method. And so, you know, let me know in the comments below what you do, or if you do anything at all. A lot of times I just don't even bother at this point because I'm usually just wanting to get stitching, and taking out my sewing machine and finishing off these edges is like just an extra step. But I will grab my fabric, and I'm gonna go ahead and just set that over here for now. And then the next thing I'll do is grab my floss, and on the back of your pattern you'll find your floss chart, usually on pretty much any pattern. And I did want to share with you how I organize my floss. I recently reorganized all of my floss into these containers. I used to have them, you know, kind of just in a different, some I had on bobbins, some I had on floss flowers. It was just kind of everywhere. And as I got more, it was getting harder and harder to organize. And so I actually downloaded this kit called the Tidy Stitch. This is what her logo looks like, and I will link it below. And she has a couple different floss organization methods. I did buy these containers from her, but these are just those regular floss containers. You can get them at any you know, store like Michael's or Joann or anything like that. And then you open it up, and I just have all of my floss in bobbins. Now the difference between this organization and DMC's organization, this is, by the way, all DMC floss. The difference is that DMC, when they did their floss, their numbers are just crazy. And what I'm assuming happened is that they put out a set of colors and then added more colors and then just had to keep adding numbers. And so when you're organizing your floss in number order, you can have some yellows here, you can have yellows here, you can have yellows here, and they're kind of spread out. And as a designer, that does not work very well for me because I want to see all my yellows at once. And so I use the Tidy Stitch color family system. So she's got two. She's got the color family system, and then she also has the number, like if you want to organize them by numbers. I went ahead and did color. As a designer, I think that works better for me. If you are not a designer and you are just pulling floss based on patterns, I would probably leave it in number order, because you will get your pattern. It will look something like this, and it will say you need these flosses, and then you can just go and pull those out by number instead of having to try and find them by color family. So just a suggestion, but I really do like this, and I'll zoom in so you can kind of see. So if you hold it up this way, you can see that I've got these little cards underneath here, and I'm just going to stick my finger in there really quickly, but the card has the family, the color family, shell pink, and then it also has all of the numbers that are going to be in that section or in that color family. So it's really kind of nice. And then all of those colors that go together are together. So it's really easy for me to say, okay, I need a pink. Here's literally all my pinks to choose from, kind of all in one area. I can see them all and pick the one that I want. So it's really handy. And then because these are in color family, if I need to find a specific color, she has a little printable PDF chart that you can print out that has them in number order, and it will tell you which color family it is in your box. So it's really easy to find. And then another tip I have for organization is I write the color number on the front, but then I also write the color family on the back. So this one is geranium. So it's really easy for me to find, oh, here's my geranium card. This needs to go in with those. So I try and make it easy on myself as far as finding all of my flosses. And then mine go this way. So it starts with whites and grays, moves into the yellows, had to come into this box a little bit, and then down, and then into the greens. And I don't have all of the flosses or all of the greens, so right now I only have 3 boxes. If you have all of the colors for DMC, I believe it requires 5 boxes. And then she also does sell the little bobbins, but you can of course get those anywhere. And then the other thing that I have found is helpful is she sells these little place keepers, and they're just wooden, like die cut, and they're the same size as a full skein. So if I were to pull out a skein, so for example in this one, I know I'm gonna need this sky blue over here. When I pull that out, I can just put my little keeper in there. It will keep my floss from flopping all over the place, and now I have this one that I can use, and then it's really easy for me to find where it goes when I'm going to put my colors back. So this system, this is not sponsored at all. I just wanted to share this because I love how this system works, and it's made it so much easier for me to see what I have. I definitely had been purchasing duplicates of things because I didn't realize it, I couldn't find it, and so this has really cut down on that because I come to this box first to see if I have anything. I also have backups from some of the duplicates that I had bought before, and I have those in my drawer. So as soon as one runs out here, I go to my drawer. If I don't have it there, then I know I'm completely out and I can go to the store and purchase it. So that's kind of how I'm organizing my floss. And then when I go to get my pattern and I know which flosses I need, I can go ahead and grab those. I've already pulled all my flosses out, so I'll show you that next. And you just saw me pull out this blue and replace it with my little marker here. So that is my floss storage. And then these I actually just keep in a drawer. I have a little kind of like a dresser that I added to my sewing room. It's really cute, and I just keep those in there so it's really easy to find. Okay, so we've got our fabric, and then here are the flosses I'm going to be using. So for the blues, I'm going to be using 519, 517, and 3842. So those are my blues. For my pinks and reds, I've got 3326 and 816. And then I just have a brown. These are the pinwheel stems, and this is 3862. So I go ahead and grab all my floss. If for some reason my floss is still in a skein, I will go ahead and put it on a bobbin at that time. And that would be usually if I didn't have that color in my box and I had to go purchase it new. But I will go ahead and just throw it on a bobbin just so it's easier to use while I'm stitching. So we can set that stuff aside. Some of the other things that I'm going to be using are one of these. This is called a line keeper. This is from Fat Quarter Shop, and they've got some different ones. This was from a specific sew along, so they might not have this same design, but it's a little magnetic piece. And you can take it and put it, I want to show you the chart, but you can take it and put it on your chart and then use that to keep track of what line you're on, and then you can kind of move it as you go. So I like to have one of these in my box. The other thing I like to have in there is my little needle holder. This is a magnetic needle holder. Oh, that's a sewing needle. And I got this from Fat Quarter Shop as well, and it's just got all of my little needles in there ready to go. So I'll put that in my box. The other thing I'm going to be putting in my box is my scissors. I keep saying box, it's not a box. And then the other thing I like to add is one of these little design boards. And this I use to put my floss on. So it's just a piece of foam. It's like 1/4 inch foam that you would use for, like, you know, your kids' science projects. And I covered it with batting. I put a little spray based and put some batting down, and then I just put some binding. This is 2.5 inch binding that you would put like on a quilt around the edge. You could also put masking tape on here, or honestly, if you spray based your batting onto your board, you don't even have to put anything around the edge if you don't want to. I just do because it's cute. And I had one that was red, and it was like a gingham red, and I was going to use it for this project. And for the life of me, I can't find it, so I'm going to use my Christmas one. So we've got that. And then as I'm stitching, if I have leftover bits of thread that aren't, you know, that long, I'll just curl them up and put them right on here. It sticks to it, and then I can toss this in my bag and the thread just stays on there. And then if I need a small piece, I can use that, and I don't have to get into my full skein for that. So super handy. The other thing I will usually throw in my bag is 1 or 2 little wonder clips, and when I'm stitching, a lot of times I will roll up my fabric to the point that I need, and I'll just stick a wonder clip on the edges to hold it, and I can show you how here, but I'll just roll this up just like this. And let's say I need to stitch like right here. I'll go ahead and just put a wonder clip there and a wonder clip there, and that kind of holds that in place for me. And so that way, if I'm going back and forth or turning it around, I just have something to hang on to. It's almost like a little handle. I stitch in hand, so if you don't, you'd want to add an embroidery hoop to this, but I stitch in hand, so this is how I keep it. So I don't have an embroidery hoop in this kit, but if you want to, I would definitely add an embroidery hoop. But that's how I do it, so that's what that's gonna look like. The other little thing I'll usually throw in here is a pin. This is an erasable pin. If I need to make any notes on my pattern or any color changes or anything like that, I'll write that on the pattern so that I'll know for future what I used in that pattern, or if I made any changes to it. So I always have a little pin in my bag. And then the last thing that I add is my glasses. So these are just my reading glasses because I can't see very well without them at this point. So I always have a little pair of readers. Okay, and then I want to show you my 2 different bag options that I'm going to be putting all this in. So I have a couple different bags that I use for my cross stitching. This first one is just a really easy, this is a free tutorial here on YouTube. I put it out quite a while ago. And this is vinyl. And I like the vinyl because you can see your project that you have in there. So if you put a pattern in here with all your stuff, you can see what it is. You can also do it with a piece of fabric, or I've seen people doing them with little, 2.5-inch squares, like a patchwork. They're so cute. My main issue with that is I like to be able to see what's in here rather than having to open it up and look and see. And that way, if I go and put this over in my little storage bin where all my works of progress are, it's really easy for me to flip through my bags and see what I have in there so I know which bag I need. If you have the solid fronts, they're really cute, but you have to open them all up and look and see what's in there. So this is a really easy tutorial. This particular bag finishes at about 13 by 14. You can make these any size you want though. I have one for this and I have one for a little mini to keep all your small notions in. So they're both really easy, and it's super easy to resize. Once you've made one, you'll be able to figure it out. So here is one option. The other option, and this is the one that I have been using more of lately, is my Craft to Go case. And so this one is a little bit harder to make. Obviously it has some more things happening on it. It's got a front zipper pocket, super cute. And I just did, this actually looks like patchwork, but this is actually a cheater print. And so I did quilting along all of the seams where it looks like there would be a seam. So it looks like I patchworked this together, but it was a cheater print from, the line was called Pam Kitty Morning by Lake House Dry Goods. So I don't think you can get this fabric anymore. It was from my stash. And then here's the back side of that. And then when you open it up, it's got all these fun pockets where you can have some fun, and that's what I'm going to be putting my project in for my Liberty Stitch Along. So the first thing that I do is I'm going to go ahead and take all of my flosses. And by the way, if you know you're going to be using this for cross stitch and you use these little bobbins, when you're making this case, you could absolutely make these a little bit skinnier, so you have like one bobbin in each little pocket. You can even make them shorter. Obviously you wouldn't want to make them quite so tall, but you can make them shorter so those would fit in there. I use this for my English paper piecing as well, so I'm actually not going to do that. And so I'm just going to put my floss in here. Actually, I'll put the blues up here. And then the floss is ready to go. I will usually stick, I have some extra needles, so I usually just kind of keep these in here. Not always, but sometimes. And then I've got a little pocket here for my scissors. As you can see, I already have a needle in here, or maybe you can't see that. Hopefully you can see it on camera, but this has just a little vinyl cover on top of it, and it's just a couple pieces of batting so you can put your needles right in there. And then the last thing I do is put the thread minder there. I will stick this right here, stick my pin on the other side. I'm going to put these on here, just keep those out of the way for now, and then I can just fold this and stick that in here. And then you can fold this and keep it on the outside pocket. I do that for my EPP. For this one, I'm just gonna stick it right back in here. You can also stick your glasses right here as well. And then lastly, I'll just throw my needles in there. And that's it. That is my entire kit ready to go. And now I can just take this with me. This one does have a zipper on it, so I can just take it, zip it up, and now it's ready to go to craft night or to my couch or wherever I'm ready to stitch. And that's pretty much it. That's how I organize all of my stitchy projects. Sometimes I actually have 2 projects going in my same craft to go tote, and if that's the case, I'll put the floss for one in the top little vinyl section and floss for the second one in the bottom, and then I just keep everything in that big pouch. So it can get a little bit crazy in there sometimes, but at least I have all my stuff with me and I can take it when I'm on the go and get a little bit of stitching done while I'm out and about. So that's gonna be it for today's video. If you have any tips on how you prep your stitchy projects, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And of course, if you have any questions, you can leave those there as well. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming fun. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. What are you playing with, Jax? If you can hear. Let's cover this up so Jax doesn't think it's stuff to play with. Okay. I've got a bird situation outside, so if you can hear the birds, I'm sorry. And then when we fold this up and zip, oh, I forgot my needles.